Welcome to Pace Studio on the Road. This is presented by our friends at Show X. We're here at the beautiful Cutting Room in Midtown Manhattan with Steve Earle today. Steve, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it. We're about to hear songs from the JT album, and we're about to share your music with the internet right now.
The sun said, Lord, take me now, my work is done, Lord, Lord. Lord, take me now, my work is done. But when they laid him out in that box of pine, boy, they laid that hammer by his side, Lord, Lord. They laid that hammer by his side. Any job he could find, boy, he'd lay, pick your vine, Lord, Lord. He'd rake your leaves and pick your vine. And they killed Joe Hill, they put a bullet to his name. That bullet made a martyr of the same, Lord, Lord. That bullet made a martyr of the same. Well, he never saved a nickel, though he tried, Lord, Lord. He never saved a nickel, though he tried. He died in Tennessee, but he couldn't get no rest. But the long road to Texas lying ahead, Lord, Lord. The long road to Texas lying ahead. Yes, I ain't no great man, and Lord, I expect to see a long life of working, and you're dead, Lord, Lord. A long life of working, and you're dead. They killed John Henry, they killed John Henry, they killed John Henry, but they won't kill me. They killed John Henry, they killed John Henry, they killed John Henry, but they won't kill me. John Henry. Justin Towns, Earle's John Henry. I was always jealous that Justin had a John Henry song and I didn't, and that's where my John Henry song on my last record, John Henry Was a Steel Driving Man, was a reaction to that. And I completely, it's not an accident that the guitar riffs, my guitar riff in my John Henry song is his riff turned inside out, basically, and that's not an accident. I did it on purpose.
Well, in addition to John Henry, I mean, this the selection of songs. I'm curious about the what made it. There's a big catalog to choose from. What seemed like what made those songs the appropriate songs to choose to put on this on the tribute record?
Well, you know, pre-production was different on this record than any record I've ever made. The idea for this record came about pretty shortly after Justin passed away. And we made it in October, so it wasn't that much time. Normally, especially with this pandemic thing going on, I would have made guitar and vocal demos of everything on the record as I wrote the song, sent them to my band, and they were pretty good woodshedders. So they come to the studio normally pretty prepared. I didn't know how I would react to performing these songs. So, and I didn't want to go through every single record of Justin's and listen to. Justin never made a record I didn't hear when it came out, but I just sitting down and listening to him then was more than I could do. So his brother Ian, I just asked him. He was probably his biggest fan, and I asked Ian to make a list. I had asked R.S. Field, who produced Justin's first two records and is one of my oldest friends, produced my Terraplane album. I asked him to make a list. I took their list to start with, and narrowed it down. And then at the last minute, actually, my ex-wife asked me if we were going to do I Don't Care. And I'd forgotten about that song. I wanted to do something from Yuma, and there was just something. That was when I first realized that he could write, because he had that. There's this it's sort of a pedestrian road map kind of folk song until he gets to the I Don't Care part, and then it's all of a sudden it's kind of punk. And I thought, oh, well, he's stumbling onto something here. So I changed. I threw another song from Yuma that I had up on the list off and put that on at the last minute. And so that's what it boiled down to. I didn't make demos. I told everybody to learn them from Justin's versions, and we'd adjust the keys later, and that's what we did. And we still made it pretty quickly. It was way easier to do than I thought, and I don't know how to explain that. I was prepared for it being really hard, but the truth is, probably the best I've been since this happened was during the time I was actually making this record, because I knew why I was doing it. And cathartic's not the word for it, therapeutic's not the word for it. It just was a way to say goodbye, and it was a way to, a way of processing it and dealing with it. So I just came up with a list, and we started recording, and I record records in sequence. I usually sequence them in advance, and it usually doesn't change very much, and we pretty much stick to that, and that's kind of how we did it.
Nice. Well, I'm enjoying it very much. I've been listening to it a lot lately, so we appreciate you coming here and playing them live today very much. And there's still 2 songs coming up from JT. What do you feel like playing second today?
Well, Harlem River Blues had to be here, So I think. Which reminds me, I have to do this. There's not. Hang on 1 second. It's probably his best known song. I don't. I can remember seeing him do it on Letterman, and that was kind of a big deal for me, because that was sort of a television show that I was sort of a friend of the program going back to the '80s when it was on the other network, and seeing him on Letterman doing this song was kind of a big deal when it happened. And he was living in New York, and we didn't see each other that much, because we were more likely to see each other in San Francisco at Hardly Strictly Bluegrass than we were. I live on. There's a lot of distance between the West Village and the East Village when it gets right down. So somebody asked me why he made it Harlem River Blues, and he lived in Brooklyn, I think, when he wrote this. It was before he moved to the East Village, and I just think, well, you just go head for Manhattan and turn right. It's right there. So. to the Harlem River to drown. Dirty water's gonna cover me over. I'm not gonna make a sound.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Right.
That's the closest thing to an audience I've run into in some time, actually. I kind of recently it's kind of hit me how much I miss that and how much a part of, Guy Clark taught me a long time ago that songs aren't finished till you play them for people, and I am a singer-songwriter. I love it when other people do my songs, but it's not why I write them. And I just kind of, I'm reaching a point where I need to go out and play for some folks. I've kind of, it's more of who I am than I thought it was when it gets right down to it. I've discovered in the last couple of months.
Well, this audience here of, I believe 4 of us in this room appreciate it very much. We've got a great crowd on the internet who's enjoying it very much.
I know there's more
right
people
now.
out there, but it's just one of those things. It's like this is a thing that everybody's having to learn how to do, how to perform in these. It's a sterile environment when you're used to playing for an audience. The feedback's immediate, and you know how you're doing. So. We're all learning a lot about that, and it's great that the technology has made it possible, but I mean, people wonder about whether it's all gonna come back. People that live music's important to them, they're gonna come back as soon as they possibly can, and I don't think there's any doubt about it. It's just people that it's important to them to play it, and people that it's important to them to listen to it, they'll support it, and it'll come back, and no doubt in my mind about that. I just, we need to do it when we can do it without hurting each other. That's what it boils down to. So.
Sounds absolutely tremendous here in a solo acoustic arrangement, the way you're playing it today. The record, in case anyone out there on the internet hasn't had a chance to listen to JT yet, is tremendous as well. I mean, that's like the background vocalist specifically on Harlem River Blues, as everything fades out except for those background vocalists.
It's everybody in the
tremendous.
band, and I think there's more than one of everybody because, I think Justin had the idea of it being a choir, and he never quite did that. And I thought about it. We didn't have a lot of time. I wanted this record out for at least digitally for his birthday. And getting in the studio in October, we made it in a week. And that's not unusual for me. I usually take about 7 or 8 days to make a record these days. I've been, I'm the way I make records. It's about the song, and the arrangements are there. I might have the best country rock band in America, and they're really, really good, and they can learn things in advance. There haven't been a lot of the last personnel change. Well, we added Ricky Ray Jackson a couple of. This is like he's been with us for 5 years now. That's kind of hard to believe, and this is his 3rd record with us. And Chris and Eleanor have been there over a decade. We changed bass players last year. That was a big deal because we lost Kelly Lindy, in 2019. So it's been a rough couple of years as far as that kind of stuff goes. And Kelly'd been in the band since Copperhead Road. That was his first record with me. So that was a big deal. But Jeff Hill stepped into some big shoes and done a great job. Brad Pemberton replaced Will Rigby because Will just got tired of being on the road. He was in the band 15 years before Brad came along. So it's solidified into a band that I'm really, really proud of, and I can't wait to get out and play with it again. And it makes it pretty easy to make records.
Yeah, we've gotten a chance to cross paths with Chris on more than one occasion. He's done a handful of these, which Masterson, which has been a total pleasure. You've always been generous with your time, as was Justin generous with his time. We got to cross paths a lot, so we just really appreciate you doing this, as does everybody who's watching right now. And there's more coming up. There's more music coming up from JT. What do you feel like doing third today?
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. This record was, I don't know. We'll play some of this stuff live. My intention when we get back out on the road again is I want to make sure that everybody hears the songs on Ghosts of West Virginia, because I wrote that record for a reason, and I think the message is important right now, because us understanding what people that come from different parts of the country that we do and the way that they think and trying to put ourselves in other people's shoes is really important to heal this country after what it's been through. I don't think I could get through a whole show of Justin's songs anyway, but we will play. There'll be a Justin section in the show when we do go out. But my plan right now is to go out and it'll be the Ghosts of West Virginia tour that didn't happen, last summer. And when we go back out on the road again, that's the plan. So these songs are all Justin's except one, and I don't know how I did this. I don't know. There might be something wrong with me. I don't know. It is my job, but it's also the only way I know how to do some things and only way I know how to process things. I started this song about 3 days after Justin passed away, and got the first 2 verses written, and then I just couldn't take it anymore, and I put it down. And that's unusual. Usually I start a song, I finish it in a day, and I wrote the 3rd verse the second day. And I think it was a day of shock, and then a day of just pain so intense that I couldn't do anything. And then I started doing this. And they say that you're not supposed to bury a kid, but the truth is people do it every day. And my job is people don't care so much about what happened to me as they care about what happens to me that they can relate to. So this whole record is in Justin's memory and to honor him, but it's about me. And artists only make art about themselves when it gets right down to it. And but what makes it connect to an audience is empathy. That's what this job is. And I've tried to, one of the things that's kind of kept me going is I'm not the only person that this has ever happened to. So I hope this is a help to somebody that this has happened to besides just me. I was there when you were born, took you from your mama's arms, stood in awe, a witness to the first breath that you ever drew. I wish I could have held you when you left this world like I did then. Last time we spoke was on the phone, then we hung up, and now you're gone. Last thing I said was I love you. Your last words to me were I love you too. Don't know why you hurt so bad. Just know you did, and it makes me sad. Did everything I knew to say, I could not make it go away. But wherever you traveling now, it doesn't matter anyhow. And I would wonder if you knew you took a part of me with you. Last thing I said was I love you. Your last words to me were I love you too. made me cry, showed me truth, told me lies, tore my heart apart, and then you brought me back the peace again. I don't know what I'll do until the day I follow you through the darkness to the light, 'cause I loved you for all your life. Last thing I said was I love you. Your last words to me were I love you. I love you too.
All right. Man, Steve, thank you again so much for doing this. Again, we always appreciate your time. And JT is the album. We just heard 3 off of it, and it's been tremendous. So thank you for your time, and hopefully before too long we're able to see you out on the road in a more normal circumstance. But until then, man, we appreciate it so much.
It'll happen.